Hey, what's up, observers? Wanted to analyze Mookie Betts and compare his 2018 season to his 2025 season. 2025 season is just, never got started and just has not really been very productive for him on just about every metric. So compared to his average season, he's down something like 40 to 50 points on his average. 50 or so points on his on base percentage, 150 points on his slugging, uh, almost 200 points on his OPS. So just a very down year. And I I wanted to go back and look at 2018, which was his MVP season, and try to understand, hey, what was he doing different? Any similarities, any differences? And turns out there's quite a few things, and generally, what I like to do, if you guys know my content so far, is actually just look at home runs. So I'm not like picking out, a fly ball to right field in a bad season and a home run in his MVP season, and then comparing kind of two bad, or I should say a really good swing in one season and a really bad swing in another. But I do think that, not all home run swings are equal. So obviously, when we look at home run swings, they're going to be good swings in general, but um, then from there we can decipher just what's going on, and if we can figure out any details that are leading to slumping, bad numbers across the board. And I think we can do that with Mookie. I will say that this swing on the left is going to be a home run to right center, and this swing on the right is going to be a home run to left field. And so there are going to be some pretty big differences on pitch location and things like that. But nevertheless, I think there's some pretty good details here. So first off, and I'll just try to play this. Um, well, maybe I'll just scrub through this and maybe we can play it. But what I want to notice is just you know, how much his head and body are kind of disassociated from his hand movement on the left. And so you can kind of see his head and body gather, and it's a kind of a clean gather, like a gradual gather, but his hands are kind of making this gather here on the right, or on the left, I should say. Whereas on the right, you know, he's standing markedly taller. So, you know, his his spine angle is kind of more vertical on the right, whereas you can see, a little bit of bend on the left. And so I think what that does is it forces him to try to get into posture all at once and later. And so if we were to draw kind of like a circle around his head on the right, let me redo that, and a circle on his head on the left, and let's just say we wanted to go, well, let's just kind of scrub through this. He leaves that circle for sure and goes downhill, but the rate at which he leaves that circle is way faster on the right. And so he's kind of jolting his eyes down before he picks up the ball. And I don't think he gets as good of a hand load either. So, um, if he's kind of loading with his body and his hands, he kind of gets that scoop there. But you can see he's kind of loading with his body down, little scoop, and then a hit. Okay, so that's kind of the first observation I want to look at. Whereas if we kind of scrub this back, you can kind of see his hands make that bigger scooping action. His head kind of gradually goes down, and then he hits this ball to right center. And I don't know if you guys could see kind of my next observation, but uh, his legs are much more active, and his core is much more active in this swing on the left than it is on the right. And so that kind of takes me into my next observation here, which is going to be kind of through context. Let's look at, once he gets his foot down and he gets into like the hitting position, we'll call it. If we were to draw, uh, a line on his belt, just to reference how good he's using his legs, and maybe anything we can identify as to the forces he's putting into the ground. And I want to look at this one on the left, just kind of how much his belt buckle stays kind of right on that line throughout basically the entire swing. And so, he gets his foot down, and then he just really starts that torsion in his legs. That belt buckle stays there, and you can see this. Um, you can see this foot here. Let me redo that. You can see this foot here like recoil. It's like whoosh, but that hip kind of stays in place. Whereas if we go to this swing on the right, I want you to see just how much he has to leave his legs to get the barrel there. I mean, this is totally different on the right. Look at how much his belt buckle comes up out of the swing through this. And what I want to notice here is kind of the opposite thing happening with his legs, right? You don't really see a ton of torsion. Like there is some, but he's really standing up through the strike there, and I think that's leading to a lot of weak contact, balls hit out in front, and just not a ton of depth in his swing to be able to hit multiple pitches at multiple speeds. And this is really, I think a very big observation for Mookie. So this is not ideal, um, on this swing on the right. And this is just like last week or a couple weeks ago.